On this week's show, Nissan's telematics service is hacked, Nevada worries about Faraday Future's future, and a Tesla Model S you can buy for just $500. But there's a catch. These stories and more coming up next on 10. Enjoying today's show on YouTube and want to read the stories we're referring to today? Just head to our website at transportevolved.com/TEN, where you'll find today's show notes, as well as links to the latest future car news, buying guides, tech primers, and car reviews. It's Friday, February 26th, 2016. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and I'd like to apologise for not being here last week. This isn't the place to go into details, but suffice to say we had a family emergency, which meant that we just couldn't film our usual Friday show. Sorry. But first up today, we bring you a big story which developed this week concerning the NissanConnect EV remote telematics system as found in the Nissan Leaf electric hatchback and Nissan ENV200 electric minivan. It turns out the service, which replaced the outgoing and notoriously unreliable Nissan Carwings remote telematics service last year, launched with a massive security flaw that grants unauthorized access to the climate control and charging details of any Nissan electric car registered with the service. Discovered by a pair of security researchers at the start of this year and announced publicly on Wednesday, the security flaw means that anyone with a valid Nissan EV vehicle identification number, an easily guessable thing, could start and stop the climate control of parked victims' cars without knowing their username and password, as well as start climate control, view recent trip data, and find out battery state of charge. Once details of the exploit became public knowledge, Nissan quickly shut off third-party access to its NissanConnect EV servers and says it's working hard to bring a fix to market as quickly as possible. In the meantime, if you have a Nissan EV, your car and its data is now safe. You just won't be able to use the NissanConnect EV smartphone app until Nissan has fixed the underlying problem. Nissan's problems might be big, but we guess they're not quite as large as the ones being experienced right now by German automaker Volkswagen, as the after-effects of its Dieselgate crisis continue to be felt. With just weeks left before it must submit plans to the US federal government detailing how it plans to bring the hundreds of thousands of non-compliant, heavily polluting diesel engine cars on the roads of America in line with federal air pollution limits, Volkswagen executives have been under pressure from the US EPA to build more electric cars. The reason? Just as Tesla CEO Elon Musk and 44 other industry leaders explained back in December last year, when they proposed the same solution to the California Air Resources Board, building zero-emission electric cars will have a much longer-lasting effect on US air quality than simply requiring Volkswagen to bring those heavily polluting cars back in line with regulations. The EPA is reportedly pushing Volkswagen hard on this one, but the German automaker is adamant it doesn't want to follow that path. I guess Volkswagen isn't keen on leading by example. But its rival German automaker Daimler is, so much so that it's soon only going to allow its executive to pick company cars that plug in as part of their total compensation packages. As we reported on Tuesday, Daimler announced that it wants all of its executives to lead by example and will thus expect hires at its Stuttgart headquarters to pick a company car that comes with a plug as standard. At the moment, there are plenty of cars to choose from, courtesy of various plug-in hybrid variants of luxury Mercedes-Benz sedans, SUVs and hatchbacks. There's also, of course, the all-electric B-Class electric drive and the Smart for 2 ED. But the thought of a Daimler executive picking the diminutive city car as their company car is one I think is probably a little bit too far-fetched to take seriously. Talking of far-fetched, however, we're off to Nevada for this next story, specifically Las Vegas, where state officials are starting to get a little angsty about the $1 billion electric car factory that Chinese-backed automaker Faraday Future says it will build there. As we reported on Thursday, the Nevada state legislature is starting to have second thoughts about the $215 million tax incentives and credits package it approved for the automaker in December, primarily because of concerns around Faraday's main backer, Chinese entrepreneur Jie Yongting. Alongside alongside the terribly planned smoke and mirrors show that was the CES unveiling of an impossible car that Faraday Future will never make. The state hasn't seen any evidence that the company can actually even afford to build the factory. Worse still, Yangdang's company in China was the subject of a trading halt in December to carry out a claimed internal reorganization. Trading of the company stock was due to resume at the end of January, but it's now been pushed back to the start of March. Consequentially, it's asking Faraday Future to put $75 million as collateral before it issues any state bonds to pay for the promised infrastructure improvements around the site where the factory will be built. It's anyone's guess as to if the company will actually find the money the state is asking it to provide, or if it will become the latest in the long line of Chinese wannabe companies promising the moon on the electric car stick. Another automaker backed by the same billionaire, though, is Aston Martin, a company which has a lot more to show for itself than a fanciful never-to-be-made concept car, and one which we'd suggest has a lot more going for it than Faraday Future's. Indeed, this week, the luxury British marque announced that it has chosen the town of St Athan in the Vale of Glamorgan, Wales, as the home for a brand new manufacturing facility where it will make the all-new electric DBX crossover SUV. Talking to the press earlier this week, Aston Martin boss Andy Palmer said that the site had been chosen following a tough competition from more than 20 different sites around the world. But he said that the company was glad to keep James Bond's favourite brand in the UK. It'll be another 4 years until cars start to roll off the production line at the new venue, but with electric car-friendly Palmer at the helm, things are finally looking up for the prestigious brand as it moves towards a brighter, more environmentally friendly future. Flying back to the US for our next story, we're off to the state of Indiana, where California automaker Tesla Motors successfully defeated an attempt this week to ban it from owning and operating stores in the state. As we reported at the start of the week, a new bill purporting to modify existing state auto dealer law, specifically with an exemption for Tesla Motors, was introduced to the House earlier this year. But in recent weeks, the bill has been amended that in a way that Tesla said was authorized by General Motors and its lobbyists to prevent it from selling direct to customers within the state. Writing to its supporters and customers, Tesla was able to rally around enough support in a few short days to ensure that its concerns were heard on Thursday at a public hearing on the matter, resulting in the proposed amendment being defeated and granting Tesla the ability to carry on as before within the state. So if you're a Tesla fan and you're in Indiana, you'll still be able to get your Tesla fix unhindered. Good job. And if you were paying attention to that last story, you'd have heard that GM was the alleged perpetrator behind the proposed amendment to block Tesla from operating stores in Indiana. And that, we're guessing, has something to do with its upcoming 200-mile Chevrolet Bolt EV that GM is bringing to market this year. While production plans for the 2017 Bolt EV have been known for some time for the US, we brought you the news last week that it's been confirmed that the Opel Ampera-e, the name GM will use for the Bolt EV in Europe, will be made alongside the Bolt EV at its Orin plant in Michigan, USA. Hardly surprising news, but it does mean that unlike Nissan, which makes the Nissan Leaf EV at 3 separate factories around the world, the Bolt EV and Opel Ampera-e will be shipped from the US to their end market, something which we're predicting will probably increase the price of the car for those outside the US. As for right-hand drive variants, that's not yet been confirmed, something which is upsetting customers in right-hand drive markets like the UK, Australia and New Zealand, all of which say they'd love to give the new Bolt EV/Opel Ampera-e a new home. While GM is being coy about its future plans, however, Japanese automaker Honda was being forthcoming this week with the announcement that it now wants 2/3 of all of its vehicles sold by 2030 to come with some form of electric drivetrain. Admittedly, this could mean anything from a hybrid through to a plug-in hybrid, battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell car. But the announcement seems to highlight yet again that Honda is starting to imagine a future where plug-in cars are sold alongside hydrogen fuel cell cars, and that's great news. That change, hinted last year when Honda promised a plug-in hybrid based on the same chassis as the upcoming 2017 Clarity fuel cell sedan, should give electric and plug-in car fans room to rejoice, especially considering how popular Honda's limited production Fit EV has proven with leased customers across the US. It's all small baby steps, but for a company which completely blanked anything with a plug just a few years ago in favour of hydrogen fuel cell technology, they are super important baby steps. Which brings us nicely to our final story because it involves both a baby Tesla Model S and those who weren't babies all that long ago. Yes, I'm talking about the news from last week that Radio Flyer, the classic kids toy company, has paired up with Tesla Motors to offer a pint-sized Tesla Model S electric car that you can buy for just $500. It comes with a fully functioning lithium-ion battery pack, seating for one, choice of speeds and colours, and yes, its own even Tesla-branded supercharger. Sadly, however, it can't go on the freeway and autopilot isn't even an option. But hey, if you've got kids and $500 spare, this might make an ideal present for a careful little driver in your family. Sadly, I'm too big to justify a $500 Tesla Model S, but we are about to add a new car to our Transport Evolved staff car fleet that is as important, I think, as a Tesla when it comes to EV history. So keep posted for more news on that in the coming weeks. And no, I'm not telling you anymore. In the meantime, you can find all the news that's fit to print at our website at transportevolved.com, catch up with us on Twitter at transportevolved, or check out our latest shows on our usual YouTube channel. And if you liked what you saw today, please consider keeping us independent and impartial by visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/transportevolved and pledging your support from as little as $1 per month. We're getting close to being able to support someone else on the site now, so please do consider donating because without them, the site effectively has to shut down every time I have a family crisis, and I've got a family member who needs my help quite a lot, and that's not good for anyone. As always, there's a lot we haven't managed to fit into today's show, including a brand new wireless charging system coming to the market for the Tesla Model S. We report on life with a first-generation Honda Insight Hybrid 10 years after it rolled off the production line. We ride in the Tesla Model X for the very first time, and Electra Girl gives her first-year report on life with a Smart for 2 electric drive from way over on the East Coast. So when we're done, be sure to head to our site to read them all. Thanks for watching. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Have a great weekend, and until next time, keep evolving.